Hey, this is Damon with the Black Business Directory with another installment of Conversations, where I get to interview great entrepreneurs in the Knoxville area. And today, we're going to switch it up a little bit. I am going to interview a sponsor of the Black Business Directory. So in this episode, I am speaking with Kanika White, one of the founding members of the Women LLC and the Women Foundation. Hey, Kanika, how are you?
Hey, Damon, I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for jumping on this interview with us. This should be a great conversation, a great fun conversation. And so I've been looking forward to this for sure.
Me too. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. So for the people who don't know anything about the Women LLC or the Women's Foundation, could you give us a little background of that?
Yeah. So it initially started off as just a group of women, and here in Knoxville, we decided that we would, get together on a regular basis and just talk. And as we began to do that, our conversations really started to shape into conversations about, the state of Black people in Knoxville. And even though we all, knew what the stats were and that, 42% of the Black population in Knoxville is at or below the poverty level, and that, unemployment was high and household incomes are kind of low, talking to it in a group like that just really made us see how dire that situation is. And in those discussions, the question came up, what can we do about that? And how do we fix it? What is the most impactful way that, that we can put our energies into to sort of kind of address that issue? And we knew that, small businesses make up the largest employers across the nation. And we decided that if we can really do something to support our entrepreneurs and our small businesses in Knoxville, help them to get established, grow, generate some net revenues, and get in a position to where that they can hire employees and pay them well, that would probably be one of the most effective ways to tackle that 42% poverty rate, increase household incomes, increase home ownership among Black people in Knoxville, and so forth and so on. So we decided that we would become microlenders. And we figured we would do that by reaching out to the community to invest in this idea. And so we started what we call the High Fiver campaign. And so that's basically people who believe in our vision and believe in our mission, they would commit to donating $5 a month. If we could get 20,000 people to donate $5 per month, that would calculate to $1.2 million a year. And so that is a huge number. And we knew that if we could take a big chunk of that $1.2 million and inject that directly into the economy for Black businesses, particularly small businesses and entrepreneurs, that we would be able to see some progress in what we're trying to achieve and accomplish. And then another portion of what we do is the Women LLC, and it's pretty much our mission is pretty much the buy the block type of a thing. So, we really want to focus on commercial real estate, acquiring this real estate, doing any rehabs or renovations to those properties, and offering affordable lease space to our small Black-owned businesses. So we're sort of kind of doing it twofold, and that's what we do.
Wow, that's great. That's a lot there. That's one thing I think is beautiful is that you guys tackled a couple of things. People should know. Like, people think, oh, there are these great large businesses that are going to come into a community and change things, but and hire 5,000, 200,000 people, or we're going to get an Amazon in East Knoxville or Knoxville that's going to employ 1,000 people and change things. That's not how the world works anymore.
At
right?
all.
It's very rare. It's very rare that happens. And that you guys identified that small businesses are the #1 employer in the country. I think the SBA has small businesses, 15 employees, 250, I think it was 275 a year, something around that number.
Right.
I could be off. But still, that's the #1 employer of people across the country. And so if you can prop up small businesses and infuse cash or even grow the amount of small businesses, you can impact an area, right?
Exactly.
In Knoxville, with that 42% poverty rate amongst Black people, that can be directly impacted and shaved down by creating more entrepreneurs in the Black community.
That's right.
Or pumping cash and marketing, et cetera, into those Black businesses, which then will allow them to hire more people, which then will, increase the tax base, on and on and on and on, right?
Right.
I think it's beautiful. I love what you guys do. I love what you guys do, and just so in the larger audience, just so you know, they're one of our sponsors. They decided to sponsor the Black Business Directory, which is another arm of trying to assist Black businesses. People ask me all the time, why would you do a project like this? It's so that I know that Black businesses are being, I said that with a lot of S's, right? Jeez. but Black businesses are adversely affected by COVID. We're watching larger businesses being decimated by COVID. So we definitely know that Black businesses are getting killed by COVID. And the statistics are we're going to lose over half of them, right? But here's a way for us to help them get visibility to an audience that they may not be visible to.
Yeah.
So,
and that's great for their bottom line.
Absolutely.
I was just saying that it's great for the bottom lines because it's like affordable advertising.
That's exactly what it is.
The benefits are tremendous.
Yeah, we are seeing just some of the statistics behind the directory. I mean, we're having over 2,000 unique visitors a month to the website.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
So 2,000 unique individuals coming to this website to look for a Black-owned business.
Right.
To do business with a Black-owned business. So that's very impactful. What that bottom line looks like, I don't know. But at least we're beginning to do the things necessary to change that 42%. So since you were a founding member were in these earlier conversations about creating the foundation and the LLC, so that really must mean you're a person of the community. You've really got a heart for the community. So tell us a little bit about Kanika. Who is Kanika White?
Oh, that is a huge question. Okay, so I'll give a little bit about my background. I was born and raised in New Orleans, and raised in Atlanta a little bit as well. I moved to Atlanta full time after Hurricane Katrina, and I was in Atlanta for about 10 or 11 years, and then I moved to Knoxville about 6 years ago because my employer, they wanted me to. I have a background in affordable housing, specifically in property management. And so, they had some properties here in Knoxville that they needed to be revamped. They needed their operations to be revamped. They were losing money. So they sent me here to get those properties where they needed to be. And when I first got to Knoxville, my first thought was, wow, this is really country. And, I was like, I don't know how long I'm going to last. I'm probably only going to be here maybe 2 or 3 years, and then, I'm heading back to Atlanta. Well, riding through Knoxville, especially East Knoxville and downtown, I saw so much potential. And what I really saw was the neighborhoods in Knoxville like Park Ridge, 5 Points, and Burlington and Morningside. I could see neighborhoods like Edgewood and Kirkwood and Eastlake in Atlanta. I saw the same type of dynamics where you had communities that were kind of run down and dilapidated and neglected. But in Atlanta, these same kinds of communities were turned around. And, we can go ahead and throw the word gentrification on that. And so I saw a similar, I saw that potential here in Knoxville. But instead of gentrification taking place, I saw the potential for revitalization. And, I just said to myself, I can sense that Knoxville is getting ready to go through a development and growth spurt. I really want to be a part of that. And I really sort of kind of want to be involved, not just, to be a part of that growth and development and make money for myself, but also to mitigate gentrification in whatever ways that I could and promote revitalization instead, so that we don't see, another Black community in the United States lose its culture, lose its foundation, and their communities being pushed out and replaced by, middle and upper middle class and wealthy white people. And so that's why I decided to stay in Knoxville. I ended up leaving, my company, Mercy Housing Management Group, and decided that I would take on a position with Knoxville Equity Partners as the executive director to facilitate economic development initiatives for Black people in Knoxville. So I'm doing that now, and of course I'm with the women, and so we're just, hitting this issue at all kinds of angles. I know me personally, I am determined to see progress, economic progress for Black people in this city. I think it's crucial, and I think it's important. And when we're talking about Black businesses, one of the things that I've noticed that might be just a little bit unique to Knoxville when we're talking about businesses and the economy is that Knoxville, especially Black Knoxville, we have a shared economy with Chattanooga and Nashville and the Tri-Cities to a lesser degree, and that Black people in Knoxville will frequent these other cities for services and products and entertainment that they cannot get in Knoxville. So these surrounding cities share our Knoxville economy. And so when I realized that, it just sort of kind of dawned on me that there is so much opportunity in that alone that's not being tapped into right now. And one of the things I'm focusing on is finding ways to tap into that potential and how to really make, because even in those cities, the Black populations are small as well. So we also have that in common with these other cities, is that the Black populations are fairly small. And so if we can sort of kind of create like this network among Black businesses in these different cities, we can really grow what we're doing and support each other and see, a lot of progress and make some major moves. So that's who I am, and that's what I'm doing.
You're doing a lot.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot. So you're definitely a person who has a heart for the city. A heart for the community. So have you always been that way, or did that develop later on in life, or where did you get that?
I think I've always been this way. I grew up in New Orleans, and my mom, and I grew up in the hood, right? So my mom was, you've heard the term bougetto. So my mom is what you would call bougetto. So she was part bougie and part ghetto. but highly intelligent, really smart, very resourceful. So she was always a community activist. And so she had 8 kids. And out of the 8, for some reason, I was the only one who would tag along with her to, like, the community meetings and, you know, talking to the parish presidents and meeting with the council persons. Her and the councilman at the time in Jefferson Parish in Louisiana, they, you know, they enticed me to run for public office once. So, and that was in my very early 20s. So I've always sort of kind of been involved, you know, in politics and things that affect the Black community. And so it's just, I don't know if, you know, I had a inclination towards it, or if it was just something that was instilled in me from my mom. But it's definitely been here since my very early teen years.
Wow, that's exciting. That's great that you ran for office in your early 20s. How was that experience?
Grueling and very eye-opening. I ran for school board representative in Jefferson Parish. I ran against, I believe she was like a 2-time incumbent. And I did not win, but I did get 40% of the vote. But it definitely opened up my eyes to 2 things. Number one, it opened up my eyes to how much I did not know at that time, and all the dynamics that play into how we live, work, and play, and the things that are being held back and kept from Black communities. And then number 2, it opened up my eyes into politics and how difficult they are, and like that the underbelly of politics. I got a first-hand experience in the underbelly of politics, and it is dirty. So I learned a lot, and I was grateful for, you know, I was upset I didn't win, but I was grateful for the experience. Once I got over my upset, I was able to be grateful for the experience, because it, you know, it opened up my eyes to so much, and I think it informed me to the point to where I knew it formed my earliest notions and ideas around Black political power and Black economic power. And I think without that experience, I probably would not have the foundational beliefs that I have now.
Okay. Yeah. Politics can be, as they say, politics is a contact sport. It definitely is. It is not for the weak at heart. At all. And one thing that I've learned being around politics for a long time is that it's a fight for resources. And there are people who do not want to relinquish those resources. And you don't have enough Black people fighting not for those resources, but to just be the decision maker of how those resources are distributed.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I mean, that's so true. I'll tell you what a politician told me years ago. He said, listen, I take care of the people who vote. And that was the end of it. I'm not bringing resources to an area or to people who don't vote. What does it matter if they get anything or not? They don't vote anyway. And, you know, and that just really speaks to the importance of getting our vote out there. Like, we have to, you know, garner our power politically, and we do that through our vote. And, I mean, you know, that he was one politician who told me that. But, you know, just looking at, you know, all other elected officials, of course they all, at least most of them, you know, feel the same way and operate in the same way. They bring resources to the constituency that votes.
Absolutely. So let's change. Let's not to change gears, but let's just talk about economics and developing a community. through propping up small businesses and getting them to, increasing revenue or getting them seeded. So, I know the foundation has just gone through their first round of funding. So, how many organizations did you guys fund this year, or
so we were able to issue out microloans to 3 companies at $2,000 apiece, 0% interest, and so we were very generous in those lending terms with the 0% interest and giving them a longer than normal loan term than one would usually have, at a traditional lending institution. So we gave them 18 months to pay it off. And, here's the thing about it. That's, really unheard of, right? When you're talking about lending any.
Yeah, because when you just said that, in my head, I said, what? What did she just say? Yeah. Yeah, that is unheard of.
Yeah, 0% interest and super long loan terms. But, our reasoning behind it is that, Black companies in Knoxville are at ground zero. They just do not have, the majority of them do not have the capacity or financial wherewithal that can meet the requirements of, those traditional lending institutions. And so because we know that they're at ground zero, they really do need hand up, and just that they need that type of support that puts as few requirements on them as possible so that they can find a way to grow. Now, we will always have that aspect of our microloan program. But, as time goes on, we will grow that program and have different lending options for businesses. So, of course, initially we started with that one, but eventually we'll get to the place where we'll have a loan package for, businesses that may be a step ahead, or the businesses that we're helping right now. They've grown, they've gotten better, their productivity has increased, their revenues have increased, and so now they might need a bigger loan that we, might attach an interest rate to, a super low interest rate, even as low as 0.1%, 0.5%, maybe a shorter loan term. It just depends. But we wanted to start with loans that were very easy for, our companies to manage and to pay back.
Good stuff. Do you want to share those companies who they are? In that way, to give them a little bit of publicity, or if you don't, that's fine as well.
I would love to do it. They deserve the marketing. So one of them is Meek Mill. She provides healthy meal prep options, and she received a $2,000 loan from the women. DJ Chris Neal, I think is Neal Productions, if I'm not mistaken. He also received a $2,000 loan. And Hairston Naturals, she provides natural beauty products, and she also received a $2,000 loan.
All right, so folks listening to this, go and frequent these businesses. Meek Mill's, Meal Prep, excuse me, got a tickle in my throat. DJ Chris, hire him for events. Chris Neal, DJ Chris Neal, and then Hairston's Natural for healthy hair care products, etc. So these are definitely businesses that we want to support and show love to. So definitely people go out and check them out. So I just had to. I had to plug them.
Yeah, we have to. And here's another plug. The women will be issuing out our second round of loans in April. So be on the lookout. Check out our website and our Facebook page, for the application for that.
Wow. Good stuff. Good stuff. I mean, it's just a great story how you guys, how many women are in the Women?
5.
5. Okay. So how 5 women came together through several conversations, decided, hey, instead of us just saying, here's the problem, let's talk solutions and then move towards those solutions, raise funds, and then start lending where banks wouldn't lend. That's just a great story. That's a great thing.
Absolutely.
And so I've gotten through one round of funding, and we'll move to another round of funding next year. Well, not next year, this year.
This year.
Yeah, this year. So what a great story. So if people wanted to, let's tell the people where they could donate to you. Or to the foundation, I'm sorry.
You would go now. I'm going to give you this web address, but your donations will go to the foundation. But the web address is thewomenllc.com, and you would just go there and you see where there's a button for you to donate. And we would appreciate all donations. And just remember, we would love for anybody to become a high fiver of what we're doing, and just be a part of this. Actually, let me correct that website address. It's the Women LLC Knoxville.org.
The Women LLC Knoxville.org. We will definitely put that in the notes, in the show notes, so you guys can click on that link, go and give, and be a patron, and help grow businesses. I mean, the Women LLC are doing great work. They are one of our sponsors. They didn't give us a loan, but they were one of our sponsors, one of our early sponsors as well. I think you guys were maybe like one of our first 3 sponsors. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Happy to support.
So,
I said we were happy to support.
Well, we love your support because this was a project that needed, community support, and we wanted to put it out in a certain way with a certain level of collaborations, and that happened. And so because of organizations like you guys, we appreciate it, and that happened. So, pardon me, it's the Knoxville weather change. Living here, here, as anyone would know, this place is, if you don't have allergies, you're going to get them.
Right, yes, that is so true. My first year here, I was like, what is going on? My first year here was probably the second time I had ever experienced any type of a, reaction to the allergens in the air. Yeah. And I actually heard that Knoxville has, a high pollen count, like in the springtime. So, yeah, it's not fun in that regard, but otherwise, yeah.
Yeah. Similar for me. Like I don't have allergy issues, but on these, since the weather is changing and it's a super warm day and it's been warm for a few days, things are starting to bloom that haven't been blooming, and so they're where they weren't affecting me last week or a few weeks ago when it was cold is starting to get to me. But this is a great interview. So so we've talked about kind of, your organization, where you guys come from, your philosophy, and your background as one of the founders. And I mean, you guys again are doing great work, and it's greatly appreciated. And we can see several of the companies, and I didn't know who you had all funded, and I've definitely seen those 3 companies kind of increase marketing, et cetera, and be more visible. which in my line of work, I'm always keen on, like, watching who's marketing more, et cetera. So it's great to see, and it's great to see the work that you guys have done in the community and keeping that going. So is there anything, I think this is a good place that we can kind of end it here, but is there anything that you want to leave the audience with, besides, because you've told them how they could give, and again, everybody who's listening to this is going to give. But is there anything else you want to leave the people with?
Yes, I just want to, reiterate about that giving. Become a high fiver, and that just means a commitment of $5 a month. We are, we're not anywhere near our goal of getting 20,000 people to become high fivers. So if you could become a high fiver, spread the word, encourage others to become high fivers, we would greatly appreciate it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, we want to thank you all for listening. I really appreciate the audience for sitting down and listening to us ramble on. But the show is brought to you. This show is brought to you every week by our sponsors. So if you're on the Knoxville Black Business Directory and you're on the front page or you're on any of the other pages, you'll see the sponsors, and we really appreciate them for partnering with us on this platform and allowing these things to happen. So definitely support the sponsors. And with that, you can check us out on the KnoxvilleBlackBusiness.com. That's where the directory is located, and our social media handles. You can find us Knoxville Black Business Directory. So again, thank you all for listening, and have a wonderful day, folks.